Welcome back to the channel. In the last episode we crossed the channel and we found an easy free air that wasn't too far away for our first night. So coming up in this episode...
France, Belgium, Luxembourg, France.
I must say, neither of us felt stressed.
So we got that wrong. It's a bit of a lesson for everybody.
Underneath the rows of trees, I will see you where the ocean meets the sky. Under your toes, the fire grows. You are ready for a different kind of life.
Do you want tea up? I've done you tea, not coffee.
Yeah, tea's fine.
Tea's up. I'll put it there for you. Good morning. Woke up to a nice sun this morning. Had a good sleep, I have to say, last night. I needed to catch up so badly. Went to bed really early, it's probably about 8:30 in the end. But I hadn't slept much for a couple of days before, and Jane was zonked out anyway with her antibiotics, so it was nice and peaceful, which is what you want. You get that bit of a security, I think, when you stand in an air, because you haven't got to worry about, being wild camping, so it was quite nice actually. So I've ummed and ahed about what we do today, and I think we're going to, with Jane not being so well, I'm going to try and put the long hours in a driving. So we're probably going to do a 4 or 5 hour driving stint, which is way more than what I normally do. But I might as well get those distances behind, because Jane won't go out and do much anyway while she's low in energy. And we'll just track, probably go through Belgium, Luxembourg, and probably just dip back into France for a parkup I've identified right on the German border, and then we'll go into Germany for the next couple of days after that. I think that's what we'll do, but to be honest, plans change. I'm just off to get me daily baguette. I know it started. I can see Jane's eyes rolling again. I've gone for a bit of a granary one. Semi-healthy. At least you know what's in these things. None of that processed crap that goes into normal bread. Something very earthy about buying fresh baguette in the morning. A couple of euros. Well, it wasn't even that, to be honest. It was €1.30, I think. Been using these black side screens, magnetic, so easy to deploy. I don't need the reflection at the moment because of where we parked and we put them up late last night. I don't need to deflect the heat. I'm still using the silver screens on the front. There. Man cannot live by bread alone, apparently, so I had some jam on it.
And as much as I would be happy to just chill out for the day, we have to move on. But Stu couldn't resist a quick stop off just 10 minutes away. And this sadly turned out to be a gut-wrenching visit for Stu, as he discovered a very sad story. Stu's just gone to have a look at, I'm actually not quite sure what he's got to have a look at. I think it's a chateau maybe. I haven't gone. We've got in for a lot of... We hadn't realised, we hadn't appreciated how far Poland was, stupidly. We've only got limited time, so we're going to be doing a lot of driving over the next few days. So, which is tough on Stu, because it's... especially being in another country with different driving sides. So it takes two of us. You always need one to be checking all the time that you're doing the right thing. So I must say, neither of us felt stressed as we did the first time we came here. And I'm starting to think maybe I could drive over here, so I might have a go at some point in the trip. So that should be interesting.
So I just happened to be looking on the map where we're parked at the Air, and literally probably 15-minute walk, a 5-minute drive down the road. There's a site where a massacre occurred in the Second World War, a bit of a war crime really in reality. As part of the British forces that were retreating back in 1940 back towards Dunkirk, there was lots of obviously soldiers protecting the beaches, trying to stem the advance of the Germans. So there was that expeditionary force that was defending that with French and British troops as they retreated back into Dunkirk, where they were obviously escaping off the beaches. And there was 80 French and British soldiers that were taken prisoners by what was the SS, I think is it Waffen Division, W-A-F-F-E-N, I don't know how you pronounce that. But obviously that was the elite Nazi forces of the German army. Captured them, marched them up to a barn here and killed them. I think they put them, rounded them up, didn't treat them at all very well. They threw grenades in. Some of the soldiers, British soldiers, to protect the others, threw their bodies on top of them with no regard to their own safety, obviously killed. And so it was a terrible war crime in reality. They do look after the grounds, these things. It's amazing really. So I believe this is the reconstructed barn, obviously, of where they were put. So in memory of Augustus Jennings and Sergeant Stanley Moore, 28th of May 1940, in this cowshed, while the SS were throwing grenades, they threw themselves onto the first and the second grenades to protect their men. Amazing. Amazing and terrible. The British Commission of Inquiry into the war crimes committed by the SS took place and came and reviewed what happened in the barn here, the cowshed. So there's markers for all the soldiers that were killed here. I'm not sure if the graves are here, I don't know. I'll have to look at that. Just a cowshed now. It's been preserved by the French, and well done to them. There's a sculpture being put here. It was erected for the 70th anniversary.
I won't lie, but this terrible story and acts of personal heroism really got to me.
So this is a commemorative mound that was inaugurated in 2004. Apparently it was created using the material from the original pond, unearthed, excavated from the second new pond. All goes back to the grounds, I guess, from the original earth that was here when the tragedy occurred. You get a good view of the site. There's a pond down there. Don't know if you can see this, but it sort of shows in 1940 where the troops were. So there was obviously a protective ring being created and gradually collapsed back as the Germans were pushing them back, really just to give as much time on the beach to recover as many people as possible. As we all know the story of Dunkirk, but those soldiers on the line selflessly firing to the last bullets they had, and then were many killed, many taken prisoner, I guess, as they were here, and then treated the way they were by the SS, which is obviously the more extreme version of the German army. Now it's quite a peaceful site.
It's really surprising, and we were these people as well, that when we said we were going to Poland, people would say, Poland? I never thought to go there. And we've got it's called A Lonely Planet book of Poland. And it's just stunning. You know, friends that have been have sent me pictures of places they've been that we've marked down, and it just looks absolutely stunning. So maybe if you haven't considered it before, then you'll watch this series and then rethink, because it just really looking forward to it.
I do like their little centres. They just seem to be bigger and they're designed to be more open, aren't they? A lot of them are. A lot of them got a little square or whatever it is. The market. Tuesday market. Where am I going here?
Turn right now and then enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
I would say so, because they can't come this way.
Should we go for it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Stop.
In 200 meters, enter the roundabout and take the second exit.
Stop.
This is where I want to just stop and have a little walk around.
Well, it's time for us to get some miles under our belt, as we know that if we take our usual very slow pace, it will simply take away our time that we get to spend in Poland. And I'm glad that we're not going the other way.
We're probably about 2 or 3 hours into the journey. We're into Belgium. We're going into 3 countries today: France, Belgium, Luxembourg. France, I think that's the direction of travel. So we just pulled over for 40 minutes to have a break. It's been pretty easy going, I have to say. The roads are really, really good, so that's not an issue. We found a little spot by a canal in Belgium somewhere. I'll put where I am in the description. That's not a little bad baguette we made. Jane's having salad. Chicken salad.
Yet another baguette bites the dust.
There's a great big lock there that drops it down about 20 feet.
Please proceed to the highlighted route and then the route guidance will start.
Wow, I just love that this one even has a trailer. Belgian motorways turn into Luxembourg motorways. But it's all moving nicely, so it's making for really easy driving. We're also on social media, and if you want to support us further, then we have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. Our channel relies on your continued support, so please hit that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to drop us a comment. We answer them all individually and we love to hear from you. And now for the park up, but something is starting to feel not quite right.
So we got that wrong. It's a bit of a lesson for everybody. I put the almost the right coordinates in. I'm the one way, but I'm north where I wanted to be by about 45 minutes. We're actually north east of Luxembourg instead of being in France, which is on basically the south east of Luxembourg. So we're 40 minutes away. We came through a very nice little few roads, I have to say, in Luxembourg, but we've now got to go and find our way back out of here.
Well, we seem to have found ourselves in Luxembourg's equivalent to Beverly Hills. And I can't imagine what these houses must cost. Well, we'll catch you in the next episode where we actually find an unexpected heir at a fantastic medieval location, so please don't miss it.
You are ready for a different kind of life.